the retirement fight, and the homecoming at the same time for the legendary, the pride of Lafayette, Louisiana, Dustin the Diamond Poirier, one of the greatest to ever do it, and one of the greatest to never win a belt. He goes up for the third time against the pride of Hawaii, the BMF champion, Max Blessed Holloway. When it comes to this fight, to be honest, both fighters are probably the most loved athletes in the history of the sport when it comes to the UFC. Now, when it comes to who wins this fight, I kind of want Max Holloway to win because he is simply my favorite fighter. But who do I think will win? I think that Dustin Poirier will win this fight, and not only will he win this fight, but he will do it in style. Now, if you look at the stylistic matchup, this is purely the volume puncher versus the power puncher. And a lot of people say that, not a lot of people, when it comes to the statistics, Ilia Topuria was officially the first man to knock down Max Holloway, but that is not the case. If you go back and watch that second fight, that second Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway fight, Dustin Poirier dropped him in that second round, but the cage kept him up. So in all actuality, Dustin Poirier was the first man to defeat Max Holloway in the UFC, and Dustin Poirier was the first man to drop Max Holloway. And I believe that everything is set up for Dustin Poirier to beat Max Holloway and retire on top as the BMF champion. Now, what does make Dustin Poirier so special? He is a southpaw, but his lead hand is actually his power hand. So a lot of people call him a converted southpaw. That's what you call in boxing. When it comes to Dustin Poirier, I mean, in that second fight, he hurt Max Holloway with everything. It felt like he was hitting Max Holloway with 4-ounce gloves, and it felt like Max Holloway was hitting him with 16-ounce gloves. That is how much of a difference the power was when it comes on both sides. But not only is the power the biggest difference, but let's be honest, this is gonna be a boxing match. Both men are gonna box, and Dustin Poirier is a better boxer. And not only is he a better boxer, but defensively, he is better. He knows how to roll with punches better. Max Holloway holds the record for most punches absorbed to the head in the UFC. And now, don't get me wrong, Max Holloway is a legendary fighter, legendary striker. That Calvin Kattar performance was the best performance I have ever seen in my life in the UFC. But that was 5 years ago, if not even more. And not only was it a long time ago, but at the same time, Max Holloway stayed in the featherweight division for too long, in my opinion. I believe that Max Holloway should have moved up. After that zombie fight, he moved up versus Gaethje. He should have stayed at lightweight. That move that he made back to featherweight and fighting Ilia Topuria, I believe that took a lot out of Max Holloway. And when you look at him now, the man looks old. Let's be honest, Max Holloway looks old. And not only does he look old, but he has taken an unbelievable amount of damage in his career. Now, yes, Dustin Poirier doesn't have the best defense also, but the biggest difference is this. Dustin Poirier knows how to roll with punches, and that shows you that he is more well schooled when it comes to defense in the boxing aspect of mixed martial arts. On the other hand, Max Holloway he doesn't just like to, but he is a volume puncher. He likes to throw a lot of punches, and many of the punches that he throws, he doesn't intend on hurting you with those punches. They're like tapping you, and then he rips to the body or rips to the head. But Dustin Poirier, the power difference, every single shot that Dustin Poirier throws, he throws it with intention to take your head off. And don't be surprised if Dustin Poirier knocks out Max Holloway in this fight. Now, can Max Holloway win this fight? Absolutely. The second fight was very competitive, but at the same time, Dustin Poirier won that fight clearly. And in that first fight, Max Holloway's debut in the UFC, he fought Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier finished him by submission. Now, Max was a kid back then in comparison to now. Now he is a champion. Not only is he a grown man, but he is a champion. Back then he was just a kid who was trying to figure out how to be the best fighter he can possibly be. But Dustin Poirier, if you look at the man, he is coming in the best shape of his career. And this fight is going to be in his hometown. Everything is set up for Dustin Poirier to win this fight in style. Now, Max Holloway, I gotta be honest, that Brian Ortega fight, I believe that was the peak and the best Max Holloway that I have ever seen. He was switching stances effortlessly, but when you look at him now, he only switches stances because he gets his legs destroyed, his calves, and that is why he keeps switching. Back then, if you actually think about it, Brian Ortega didn't really land many calf kicks. He landed a lot of leg kicks, but not too many calf kicks. But Max Holloway kept on switching stances because he wanted to find the angles and the perfect shots. But now when I look at Max Holloway, I just feel like the man is aging, and he is aging rapidly. And his fighting style doesn't really age well. Hands down, taking a lot of punishment, standing in the pocket for the majority of the fight. Now, yes, when Max Holloway is in his zone, when Max Holloway is in his flow state, the man looks unbeatable, the man looks untouchable. But when was the last time that we've seen Max Holloway in that mode? Even the Gaethje fight, you know, that spinning back kick that he landed on Gaethje's nose and broke his nose at the final second of that first round, that was a pivotal moment in that fight, which is why Gaethje was gun shy in that fight after the first round. Who knows what would have happened if that spinning back kick didn't land on Gaethje's nose and broke his nose. So I believe that Max Holloway's prime has passed a long time ago, just like Dustin Poirier, don't get me wrong. Dustin Poirier's prime has also passed a long time ago. But I believe, based on the styles, Dustin's style ages better than Holloway's. Now, like I said, I want Max Holloway to win because he is simply my favorite fighter ever. When it comes to the UFC, when it comes to MMA, who doesn't love Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway? But more specifically, Max Holloway is probably the most beloved fighter on the roster right now. And that Gaethje performance was unbelievable. That Ortega performance was unbelievable. That Cater performance, my God. But that was a while ago. And if you think about it, especially Max's last fight, he got knocked out for the first time in his career. Now, there is no shame in losing to Topuria, but that jump back in weight, going down in weight again, that took a lot out of him. And I've been watching Max Holloway since his debut, and I've been watching Dustin Poirier since his debut, and I know, I've seen Max Holloway on fight week years ago. He used to be way healthier than he looks now. And even though he moved up in weight, he still doesn't look that good. He still doesn't look that healthy. He looks drained, he looks old, he looks fatigued. He looks like he's been through many wars, and he has been through many wars. I got Dustin Poirier winning in his hometown and putting the gloves down in what will be one of the most memorable retirement fights that we have ever seen. My heart wants Max to win, but when you think about it stylistically, and when you look at the momentum, and when you look at the occasion, Dustin Poirier, everything is set up for him to go out on top.